Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Rusty McCranie, and welcome to Weather Express. It's your weather in just 5 minutes. Start the clock. Friends, we continue to have areas of impactful weather across the country, especially along the eastern seaboard and in portions of the plains. And take a look at the heat through a good chunk of the United States. There's a lot of mid and upper 90s and even some triple-digit heat in some places that we don't typically see. We'll start with what's been happening along the eastern seaboard. To the east of this cold front, we have had some massive thunderstorms on this Tuesday. Notice temperatures, by the way, near the Philadelphia area towards Newark, mid and even some upper 90s. So there's a ton of heat energy as these storms have raced their way off to the east. Big cluster of thunderstorms, and they've been quite active today. From the Allentown, Pennsylvania area down towards Philly, where we have had a few tornado warnings. Those are the purple polygons clustered around a huge line of severe thunderstorms that are producing winds of over 70 miles an hour in some spots. You follow the active weather back down into portions of Delaware and Maryland, especially along the coast, Baltimore off towards the south again. Very strong winds associated with all of these storms. When you look at these local storm reports, look at this here all along the coastline. Let me pause this so you guys can see it. This report right here near Lexington Park, 77 mile an hour wind gust. How about that? Closer to Philly and Allentown, we've had some inch-size hail and some 70-plus mile an hour winds, as I've mentioned. So obviously very active weather there. We do have a widespread severe thunderstorm watch, several of them. It goes all the way up to the New York City area as well. And again, give you some of the flavor of that. Winds of 70 miles an hour with some half-inch size hail. A little bit farther off to the south, same scenario here again. Winds of 70 miles an hour in most spots. Now, some of these storms will get back into the southern sides of New York and then race across Long Island and Connecticut and Rhode Island, maybe even towards Boston, which, by the way, Boston today hit 93 for a daytime high. Scattered showers and storms across the southeast as we typically see this time of the year. Very hot conditions here. A little bit more instability coming out of the Bahamas will aid in additional thunderstorms for the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida in the coming days as well. We're finally starting to see all of the flooding in south central Texas beginning to move away from the most flood-prone, stricken areas, but heavier downpours continue near Houston, where additional flooding can develop in those areas. Unfortunately, there's been more than 100 fatalities reported out of the flooding that we've had in the last week here in portions of Texas. Thunderstorms are quite numerous in eastern sides of Oklahoma through Arkansas, though mainly they are non-severe at the hour. Additional thunderstorms could develop in portions of the northern plains later today, but the biggest story out west is about the heat. Look at the building heat. Boise today, 100 degrees. Vegas, 110. Phoenix, 110 to 115 most afternoons for us here, and there's hardly a cloud in the sky. The winds are also a big story here when I bring on these gusts. Look at some of the wind values that you see here. There's a lot of wind advisories and a lot of red flag warnings for the opportunity for wildfires in these spots is something I'll be monitoring. So back out to the broad perspective, the risk for severe weather today is highest with that slight risk: Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, eastern sides of Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. The risk for severe storms for tomorrow redevelop in those same spots and then eke farther south towards Charlotte, North Carolina, and then there's those severe thunderstorms developing in portions of the Dakotas back into the central plains. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to bring up the HER model. It's the high resolution rapid refresh. As I do so, appreciate you guys taking a quick second and liking and subscribing. Look, eastern two-thirds of the United States, relatively active pattern here. And again, we're going to see thunderstorms cluster up from New York City back to Baltimore and then redevelop farther south. Richmond, Virginia could be included in this. Charlotte, North Carolina, so along I-95 and 85 back off to the west, maybe kind of bracketed by the I-77 corridor for our Wednesday. This is the area for the best opportunity for winds of 70 miles an hour and potentially some rotation and some isolated tornadic activity. We're going to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley, though not as numerous in nature. Tennessee Valley will also get into that act. It's the typical thunderstorm activity across the southeast this time of the year. Again, a little bit enhanced. South Carolina, eastern Georgia, and northern and eastern sides of Florida near this trough that's over portions of the western land, just kind of feeding into some of the thunderstorm activity. Now, the thunderstorms may not be as widespread across the plains, but look at the pockets of very intense storms coming out of Big Sky Country in the high plains, and these storms could produce some massive hail in Wyoming and Montana through the Dakotas, and then sneak their way back south and east into the central plains and portions of the Midwest. So, as we get into the latter part of the week, that's where I expect the strongest activity. As a matter of fact, for your Thursday, That slight risk area is in those spots that I just showed you here. And again, additional stronger thunderstorms are possible across the I-95 corridor of the eastern seaboard. If you live out west, the biggest story is going to continue to be the heat dome, big ridge of high pressure there. As a matter of fact, when I show you guys what it looks like for the next 6 to 10 days as far as the temperature outlook goes, you're going to see all the red out west. That means temperatures at or above normal for the next 6 to 10 days. Cooler in the plains and the heat building back in as we've seen out east as well. Friends, I'm out of time. Appreciate you making Weather Express a part of your daily routine. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. And again, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to help support the channel. Have a great rest of your day. I'm back tomorrow with your latest 5-minute forecast.